What if luxury wasn't just worn, but forged under the heat of 1,000 degrees, behind locked doors, under intense secrecy? And what if the gold on your wrist didn't just look premium, but was made from scratch by the very people who engineered the watch itself? Welcome to the inner sanctum of Rolex, where gold doesn't just shine, it's built to endure. Inside the Rolex manufacturing facility, it's not just craftsmanship, it's total control. Every grain of gold, every molecule of steel, every flicker of lume, it's all Rolex. And they wouldn't have it any other way, because to Rolex, perfection isn't just a goal, it's standard procedure. Let's start right at the core of the operation. The gold foundry. Rolex is one of the very few luxury watchmakers in the world. Actually, scratch that, it's the only one that makes its own gold and platinum in-house. Not sourced, not subcontracted, not outsourced. Made. Right there, inside the Rolex compound in Geneva. Now picture this, 24-karat pure gold bars, gleaming and heavy, arriving at the Rolex facility. But Rolex doesn't just slap that gold into a case or bracelet. That would be too easy. And way too soft. See, pure 24-karat gold is beautiful, but it's also far too malleable for everyday wear. It scratches, it dents, it bends. Not exactly the kind of material you'd want on a timepiece that's built to last generations. So what does Rolex do? It melts the 24-karat gold, heats it until it's a glowing liquid, then uses specially guarded recipes to blend it with exact proportions of other metals. Silver, copper, platinum, palladium. Each of these alloys is added in meticulous ratios to create Rolex's iconic 18-karat golds. Yellow gold, white gold, and their legendary Everose gold, Rolex's own patented take on rose gold. But here's the thing, it's not just about color, it's about structure. Rolex engineers these blends so precisely that the resulting metal isn't just beautiful, it's engineered for resilience. Every pore is measured, timed, and controlled. The temperatures are tightly regulated. The humidity, even the ambient air quality in the foundry matters. The alloying process isn't some off-the-shelf operation. It's a ritual, done by trained hands, guided by proprietary data, conducted in an environment that Rolex has optimized down to the last cubic meter. The workers operating these furnaces are more than technicians. They're metallurgical artists. Once the metals are added, the mixture is stirred in exact cycles. It's not about speed, it's about consistency. One wrong ratio, 1 second too long, and the entire batch could be off. Rolex isn't just chasing a gold standard, it defines the gold standard. After alloying, samples are pulled from the molten blend and tested immediately. Right there in the foundry, on-site spectrometers analyze the mix at an atomic level. If the sample doesn't meet Rolex's standard, it's rejected on the spot. No close enough, no maybe later, just out. The accepted alloy is then cast into molds to form long rods or bars, which will later be processed into sheets, links, cases, or bezels. But even this casting phase is custom to Rolex. The molds are specially designed to reduce porosity, eliminate microcracks, and ensure even cooling. After solidification, those gold bars are set aside to rest. Yes, rest. Rolex lets the metal stabilize. It's a step that sounds simple, but is critical. As the metal cools, stress is relieved from the structure. It's like letting bread dough rise, except instead of yeast, it's metallurgy. Then begins the transformation from raw gold bar to usable component. The bars are milled down, cut into blanks, and inspected again. Edges are checked for uniformity, surfaces are checked for density, grain direction is monitored. Rolex isn't leaving anything to chance, and when it's finally time to shape the components, that's where the human touch returns in full force. Craftsmen and women take those gold blanks and start forming bezels, cases, and links. Each piece is cold-formed under pressure to maintain metal strength. The forming tools used are Rolex-designed, custom-built, serviced constantly. Some are even made with diamond-coated elements to maintain edge accuracy. Because gold is soft, but Rolex gold isn't allowed to behave that way. The components are then heat-treated again, going through annealing ovens to bring them to the perfect molecular tension. not too hard, not too soft. The result? A piece of 18-karat gold that wears like steel, but glows like treasure. And throughout all of this, every batch, every pour, every component is tracked. Rolex logs every stage of transformation for internal consistency. The metallurgy is archived. The performance of each alloy batch is recorded. It's like a lab notebook for luxury. This is how Rolex guarantees that their gold doesn't just shine today, it shines the same 10 years from now, 20 years, 50. The color, the durability, the resistance, it all holds because it was engineered to, not guessed, not hoped, engineered. This entire approach, from molten gold to machined case, exists so Rolex can say something no one else can. This gold is ours. Every atom, every shade, every edge, controlled, created, and perfected within the walls of one company. This process happens inside a purpose-built foundry Rolex introduced in the early 2000s, and it's not open for tours, not even for industry insiders. No photos, no video. Rolex guards this operation like a Swiss vault, but through carefully controlled disclosures and insider accounts, we now know what happens inside. It's the kind of place that feels more like a high-security research lab than a workshop. Swipe card access, retinal scanners, only essential personnel are allowed beyond certain doors, and everyone who enters is bound by strict confidentiality agreements. Even suppliers who deliver raw materials rarely get to see where that material ends up. Rolex compartmentalizes every aspect of the process. Need-to-know basis, always. The fewer eyes, the fewer leaks. That's how secrets stay secrets. There are no press visits, no influencer walkthroughs, no behind-the-scenes documentaries. Not even close. The foundry is a black box, and Rolex intends to keep it that way. The only reason we know anything at all is because Rolex allows just enough information to slip through, just enough to confirm it exists, but not enough to replicate. The culture inside is monastic, focused, quiet. There are no loud machines whirring constantly. The equipment is advanced, but the environment is surprisingly calm. Rolex believes precision thrives in stillness. Tools aren't left out. Everything is cataloged, cleaned, stored. The place runs like a Swiss watch, pun fully intended. Even small tasks like transferring metal samples are done with a kind of ritualistic care that borders on obsessive. Visitors, when they are granted access to the building's outer areas, are watched closely. You won't find anyone wandering off or pulling out a smartphone. It's not even allowed inside most sections. The entire perimeter is controlled, cameras, sensors, and layers of security. And Rolex doesn't just keep this process locked down for show. It's because the techniques used inside the foundry, the recipes, the casting methods, the finishing techniques are 100% proprietary. Competitors have tried to reverse engineer Rolex alloys for decades. They've gotten close, but never quite there. Because without knowing the exact processes used, the atmospheric conditions, the resting periods, the microscopic tests, the results are always just a little off. Rolex knows this. That's why they don't outsource. That's why they don't brag. They just work, quietly, meticulously, behind those thick Geneva walls. Even the foundry's physical location within Rolex facilities isn't promoted. There's no big sign, no separate entrance. From the outside, you'd never know it was there. Just another anonymous-looking building in a quiet industrial zone. But inside, that's where the transformation happens, where raw gold turns into Everose, where alloys are born, where case blanks take shape, where the materials that define Rolex's legacy are literally forged. This is where Rolex's magic is made, not in marketing decks or fancy boutiques, but in fire, pressure, and secrecy. The foundry is the heart of the brand, and it beats behind locked doors. Foundry men melt 24-karat gold over roaring flames. That molten gold is then poured through a sieve, creating droplets that fall into vats of water. The instant cooling hardens them into beads of 18-karat gold. Those beads are the starting point for Rolex's cases, bezels, crowns, and bracelets, and that's only step one. And the same extreme level of control applies to Rolex's other materials. Take oyster steel, for example. This isn't just any steel. It's a 904L stainless steel, an ultra-resistant high-performance alloy that Rolex has used since the mid-80s. 904L steel isn't easy to work with. It's tougher, more durable, and more resistant to corrosion than the more common 316L used by most other watchmakers. But Rolex wasn't interested in what's easy. They were after what's better. 904L, or as they call it, oyster steel, offers unmatched brilliance when polished. That mirror-like shine? It doesn't come cheap. Before Rolex even begins shaping it, this steel is examined under microscopes. Every grain, every layer. If the microstructure isn't right, it doesn't make the cut. Once approved, the metal is primed, hardened, and refined again. Then finally, expert polishers unlock that signature glow that sets Rolex apart. And then there's Rolsor, another Rolex original. It's a marriage between oyster steel and gold. Toughness meets elegance. Rolsor combines the core strength of steel with the nobility of 18-karat gold, usually seen in the bezel, crown, or center links of the bracelet. It's become a visual signature, that seamless blend of luxury and durability. And speaking of innovation, what Rolex does with light is equally impressive. Enter Chroma-Light. Back in 2008, Rolex unveiled this breakthrough display tech. During the day, the markers look crisp and clean, but at night, the glow is unmistakable, a deep, piercing blue, not the green lume you see on most other watches. Chroma-Light is more than just good looks. It's engineered to store ambient light energy, then release it slowly and evenly in dark conditions. It's a custom-developed substance made from a blend of aluminum, strontium, dysprosium, and europium, which is first powdered, then heated, then blended with resin, and applied by hand to each dial marker and hand. This level of precision is what defines Rolex. From metals to lume is either developed, refined, or crafted entirely in-house. They don't chase trends, they engineer timelessness. Take RLX titanium, for instance. Rolex could have easily adopted standard titanium years ago. Lots of brands did. It's light, strong, corrosion-resistant, but Rolex wanted more control. RLX titanium is a special grade 5 titanium alloy, and Rolex spent years studying its properties before deciding to bring it in-house. Now, think about all these materials, gold, steel, titanium, platinum, and imagine the coordination it takes to blend them into a single cohesive timepiece. That's why Rolex doesn't outsource its research and development. They have full-scale professional labs on site, chemistry labs, physics labs, stress testing chambers. Watch components get tested under brutal conditions, extreme heat, cold, moisture, shock. Each part gets tortured before it ever ends up on a customer's wrist. If it breaks, it goes back to the drawing board. If it survives, it earns the crown. This obsessive attention to material science is why a Rolex feels different, why it lasts, why it means something. It's not just the logo, it's the years of metallurgy, testing, and hands-on craftsmanship behind every element, even the ones you never see. No shortcuts, no compromises. Rolex controls everything. And this control means that when a $50,000 Daytona or Day-Date rolls off the line, it's not just a luxury object. It's a material marvel, forged from raw elements reshaped by science and perfected by hand. So next time someone says it's just a watch, show them the Rolex foundry. Show them the steel that's scanned on a microscopic level. Show them the rose gold that never fades. The glow-in-the-dark markers built from rare earth elements. The titanium that shimmers like silver even after years of wear. Because a Rolex isn't just built to look good, it's built to outlast, built to perform, built to live. And when you wear one, whether it's a classic Datejust or a cutting-edge Yachtmaster, you're not just wearing gold or steel. You're wearing decades of research, an obsession with detail, and a relentless pursuit of mastery. All forged from a single bar of gold. If you found this deep dive into the Rolex Gold Factory as fascinating as we did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on more behind-the-scenes stories of craftsmanship, luxury, and innovation.